Welcome to our weekly Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. It's intended especially for solopreneurs. And this morning we're going to be looking at the alternatives to chatbots for bloggers. So we'll be right back after this. Hi everyone, this is Lowell Ann, your host. And greetings panel members, I'm so happy you're here today. And I hope things are absolutely awesome in your part of the world. So let's begin as we usually do by introducing ourselves. And so I might get us started by saying that in my coaching and consulting work, I love helping solopreneurs who want more from their business. Together, we overcome that feeling of overwhelm and the procrastination that results from overwhelm, and put that business mastery plan into a joyful reality. So I have a little piece of news that some of you may be aware of and happy to hear. After this big long marathon of trying to get LearnDash working, I got it working finally. So it's I'm going to my next stage will be to figure out ways to promote that. So the course is about creating your business mastery plan made easy. That's what it's called. So, all right, let's see. Vivek, how would you like to start us off with your introduction?
Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said, "Simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication." I aim to bring time-tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. Wake Technology Private Limited is my company. So together, let us wake up our potential. So I am in England. It's quite a hot day, I should say. It's 24.6 degrees centigrade, which is around about 80 Fahrenheit.
Ah,
So,
right on.
so I have to keep my window open. So if you hear some traffic, pardon me. I can't keep the window closed at all. It's too hot.
Well, and now that you mention it, I forgot to close mine, and so the leaf blowers will be around sometime. I might have to get up, close the door. Oh dear. So good to have you here, Vivek.
Thank you.
Fred, how about you? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Certainly, I'm Fred Jones. I'm currently in California, but I'm normally in Victoria. It's 18 degrees centigrade at the moment here. I work with young people. I have a website called ourfutureleaders.ca, and over the years, I've realized that young people need more assistance than ever, the younger generation. I've been a grandparent for over 20 years and a parent for over 50 years, and I realize that things have changed a little bit. And how the challenges that these young people are facing is absolutely astronomical. So I've got some approaches that have assisted them over the years, particularly working together, creativity, etc. And we can help mentor them. They get a lot of positive sides if we mentor and assist them. So I work with young people, and I'm looking forward to, as I've mentioned before, going to Portugal, where there's a group of people that are interested in what I'm doing, and I'm interested in what they're doing with young people. So today, actually, my daughter and her family are going to Australia to visit my other daughter, where I normally end up in December and January. So I'll be house sitting and pet sitting here while they're away in Australia. So they leave today.
Ah, right on. Do you know what, Fred? I love the way you pulled in who you are, like your kids and your grandkids and all that. You pulled that into what you're doing with young people. It just goes to show that you are just a master at this sort of thing. It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
David, how about you?
Congratulations on getting LearnDash working.
It's all your fault.
Yes, it is. Both
that
ends is
that
my
I
fault, too.
that I got it working.
My name is Dave Flannery. I'm with Affordable Websites for Small Businesses and United Country Sauk Valley Realty, Team Flannery, where we'll sell you a house. Presently, it is 79 degrees, or according to Google, 26.11 degrees Celsius. I hit a milestone just today too. I finished up Affordable Websites for Small Businesses website, so it's up and going and everything, and having people do final checks and spelling and all that good stuff. So it's totally live. I'm real happy about that. Been a long time coming.
Well, and also you've got a new client that you're going to be doing all this for on a local basis, which is like the foot in the door, right? Like immediately. So congratulations.
I've got two clients now. One's a home inspector and one's a pizza restaurant. So I'm real happy with that, and we will be going on our. Hopefully, I've got some networking on Thursdays. I have a networking group I'm trying to join, and I'm hoping this week I'll get the okay to join that, and that based on referrals. So I'm hoping to get some work through that also, and that's going to be local businesses around here too, which would be great. And then I want to expand my market into the bigger towns. we have a few cities. One's Rockford, and one's what we call the Quad Cities. Expand into that area, and hopefully by the end of the year, I want to have 10 websites I'm working on. So,
boy, got your goals all already set. You know where you're going. So,
yep, yep.
yeah.
So that, along with air fryers for home use, and more mushroom hunting and ramen riches, all those websites I'm maintaining too. So,
Yeah. So speaking of websites, I forgot to mention that my client, Chinatown Care Center, it's going live this week. I'm just waiting for the final approval from the board. So everything is ready to roll. So so that's been fun. Yeah. So let's see, Javita, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Namaste, all of you. I am Shubhangi from India, and I am a Reiki master teacher, also a yoga master teacher. And I'm really glad to be here. And I work on my websites, Reiki Amazes and AdvantageAffiliates.com.
Right. So, and do you, Javita, do you do a regular blog from either one of your websites?
Yeah, I try to daily post a blog on my website.
Daily?
Yeah.
Wow.
That is my minimum goal, to post a blog on Advantage Affiliates, because we are all on a SAC, that is Super Affiliate Challenge. So I try to complete it.
Wow, boy, that's hard work to be able to post on a daily basis. Wow, I'm impressed. I thought I was doing well when I was doing once a week. Yeah, yeah. So hopefully, we're going to get around to speaking about blogging. So so thank you for joining us, Javita.
Pleasure,
Yeah. And Alana, what's new in Ireland?
Greetings, everyone. Alana here, coming to you from the sunny southeast of Ireland. I am happy to report we have a lovely 20+ degree day today. Go us, finally. So it looks like summer has finally kicked in here, so I'm loving the weather. So yeah, I run a website called EmptyNesterBlog.com, and I help people in the world of online marketing. And I also have my business, which is ALB Digital Marketing Solutions, where I build websites and help local businesses with their websites, writing content, blog posts, SEO, keyword research, and that sort of thing. So yeah, I am happy to say we finally got some warm, and I'm not wearing my hoodie today, so that's a good thing. It's fine. I can't believe I'm finally not wearing my hoodie inside the house. So.
Oh dear. Well, are you close to the ocean?
Yeah, I'm about 10 minutes from a little beach called Courttown, and it's kind of a rocky beach, but it's still a beach. And they have a lovely wooded area as well. There's trails there you can walk, so we normally go there after dinner when all the tourists and the dubs have gone back home, and we take the dog for a walk and hang out on the beach. So yeah.
And that probably explains why it's usually quite cool in your neck of the woods when you're close to the ocean.
Yeah, it's just a 10-minute drive for us, which is great. So it's not that far at all. I like being near the water. So
yeah. Well, but there are drawbacks, and one of them for me right now is that it's been windy, quite windy lately. So yeah.
Well, as long as there's no fires, that's a good thing.
Yeah, no kidding. So happy you're here.
Thank you.
I'm just kind of making sure I have covered everybody. Have I covered? Oh, there's Nathan. Good morning, Nathan. How would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. As you know, my name is Nathan. I'm coming to you from
Sunny Bucerias, which is north of Puerto Vallarta in Mexico, and in terms of temperature, it is 30 degrees Celsius. So that's about 91 Fahrenheit, thereabouts. So, and a bit on the humid side, which is why I've got a fan going. If you hear some clicking in the background, that's why I have to find a better arrangement for the fan. Anyway, what I'm doing is I went back to my roots in publishing, and what I do is I show people how to become the go-to person, the trusted authority in their niche by writing a lead generation book.
Right on.
Yeah, super fast. It's based on a technique I learned from another colleague of mine. I took what he did for his product and adapted it for what I'm doing. Yeah.
Well, it's really neat to encounter sort of a model, and then to be able to duplicate the model, right, rather than the content.
Yeah, I duplicated part of it, not all of it. It's like the guy created something called the 10 by 10 by 4 formula.
Wow.
And it has to do with video for a product called Traffic Geyser, which I had many years ago for video. And it's to write down the 10 top questions your prospect asks you, and then the 10 top questions they should be asking, and then the 4 refers to driving them into your funnel. But I changed it so I don't have the 4 for the funnel part, and it's the 10 top questions that your prospects ask you, followed by a professional answer, like how you would solve those problems. That's where I differentiate myself, and it's for a book as opposed to video.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah. I mean, there's a guy in Victoria who's doing something like that right now, not entirely the same. His name is Rick Hugendorn. And he wrote it.
I know Rick.
I figured you did.
Yeah, he's a real estate agent.
That's right. And he wanted to be a book author many years ago, but couldn't get started. But luckily for Rick, he was also a student of Byron Katie, and he used her method called The Work and broke through all his blocks. And the end result was a book called What's Stopping You. And the book has a really cool graphic on the cover. It's one of those traffic lights, you know, those vertical lights that hang from wires. But the difference with his book, which makes it cool, is that all the lights are green.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a really sweet idea. Yeah. So part of what I'm doing came from the inspiration of what he's doing. It's not entirely the same, but it's close enough. And when he gives those books out, people remember him.
Yeah.
Remember him.
I remember Rick. I don't know whether we had him speak at Host, and he introduced. I just remember connecting with Byron Katie's work as a result of Rick. I don't remember anymore whether it was in person or online, but I remember that. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that Rick did, I don't know if he still does it, is he was giving regular weekly classes, free introductory class to the work of Byron Katie. I went to one of them just to check it out. I mean, I know her work. I've used it for many years.
Yeah.
It's very powerful, but I was just kind of curious. But that's partly where the idea comes from for me, because it's a lead generator, what he's doing. And it's a really short book and really thin, but the idea, you give something like that out, people will remember you. It's more so than a business card. So
I watched a portion of Mira's master class this morning, and she refers to that as a tripwire. That's her term.
I keep hearing about tripwire. I don't have a really good sense of what that is.
Well, that's what she means. Yeah, something that catches people's attention and that allows you to move them into your funnel. Although she doesn't use the word funnel either. She has a different set of terms. But
there are endless marketing phrases, and I'm sure Jay would attest to this.
Yeah, right.
Well, there's so many different things. There are chatbots. There's so-called marketing funnels, like something I've been doing recently. And some of my friends have said to me, "Oh, you're using a funnel." And I'm going, "Oh, really? No, I had no idea. It was just something I did."
Yeah.
But people have all sorts of different phrases to describe the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. Thank goodness, because not, certain phrases don't click for certain people. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, this
That's
thing about
what I do.
tripwire is something I've heard of it, but I've never had a good idea as to what it is.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I mean, I'm sure
By
Jay
the
would be
way,
able to.
by the way, Jay has joined
I know,
us.
I see him. I was just waiting for a break in the conversation to invite him to introduce himself. Go ahead, Jay.
Hi, my name is Jay. My company's Magi Studios, and we help people get started in the world of online marketing through coach consulting and training. Hailing from gorgeous Langford, it's a balmy 27
Tis not.
Fahrenheit.
Good morning,
Happy to be
Jay.
here.
Right on.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
So I'm just checking my film strip here to make sure I've included everybody this morning. Okay, so last week we talked about chatbots as a possible marketing tool for people, and we came to the conclusion that they're probably not suited for people who are blogging. Because we don't want to create distractions from what we have written in our blog. So we concluded that the chatbots were absolutely super for businesses and for visitors who want sort of an immediate answer, sort of an immediate service and an immediate answer. And that may not be what suited for people who are blogging. So we decided to explore, okay, so what do we have as alternatives? It's really, as I thought about it, it's about engagement. How do we engage with our audience when we're doing blogging? And I actually came up with a list of 8 things just off the top of my head. And I'm guessing that many of you will be able to add to that. I'm sure. So I'm not going to read them all off initially, but the main one, and certainly this is a message that I know Jay has been promoting in his training sessions too, is make helping people your main intention. And if that is where you begin, helping people, then you can never go wrong. Does everybody agree with that? I'm guessing you must. And the other piece that I've noticed is that if we write as though we are speaking directly to that individual, that is one way that brings forth that feeling of engagement. And then the third thing that I think is important is when we are doing that on a blog, we want to include our picture, so that the viewer gets that feeling that you are speaking directly to them. So those were out of my 8, my top 3. So now I know that everybody here does do some blogging. So I'm wondering what your top 1 or top 2 might be. So Alana, what about you? What would your top 2 things be for engaging?
Okay, so you put me in the hot seat here. I would say that my top 1 would be responding to anybody that makes a comment on my blog. So, and I like to do that very quickly. So if you leave it too long, people think that you're not interested, you don't care, or whatever. So I like to respond as soon as possible. And every now and then I'll get email from someone asking me a few questions, and I'll respond to them immediately as well. So I think like turnaround time, I think, is quite important no matter how you're contacted. So that would be mine.
And I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. And so if we have a blog and somebody leaves a comment, then we have to have a mechanism that allows us to respond really, really quickly.
Yeah, and sometimes people ask questions that are not really related to your blog, but I still want to help them because it's related to the post. So even though I may not know the protocols a company may use to work, I still try to help them. You know?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. So responding really, really quickly. I think that's really important. So Fred, I know that I mean, you've been doing quite a few blogs recently. What would be your top one for engaging?
Well, I agree with what you said. The number one is helping people. I have always said this because I was in sales many years. If you're solving people's problems, you can be very successful. And whatever it takes to help them once you've got that problem. So you can engage with them many ways. One thing that I find over the years is video, and even what we're doing today is a very good way, because you get to know the person a little bit better when you do video. I don't do a lot of video, but I'm doing more and more. And there was something that triggered me when you respond to people and engage with them. Someone said, just shoot them a short video and they'll remember you for that rather than just respond by email. And that can be very powerful in the right circumstances, because once again, they say, wow, this person really is interested and trying to be helpful. So video is a tool to use for engagement that can be, if used properly, can be very powerful. In other words, just send them, just record something even on your phone and say, yeah, I got your message and here's what I think. And they'll say, wow, that was very powerful. So video is something that I'm looking more and more at using.
What a great idea. Rather than just sending them a text, to send them a little short verbal video response. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Boy, that's very powerful, and especially with iPhones today or smartphones today. It's very simple compared to sometimes even faster than writing an email. So, but it's more powerful. So.
Yes, absolutely. So there, but again, it sort of harks back to what Alana said, doesn't it? Sort of making it an immediate response, but a response that is really going to make them feel as though you're singling them out and being connecting with them individually. Wow. Well, Fred just disappeared, didn't he? What happened?
No, I'm still here.
You're still there. Oh, it's just my screen just did a funny thing.
No, the internet in California is still working.
Right. Right on. So, let's see. Vivek, what about you? What, and I know that you're doing some volunteer work right now that kind of relates to people, but either from that perspective or your own business perspective, I mean, what do you see as being one of your top things for that sort of engagement with people?
I think it has to be short videos instead of a blog. What I want to do and have been planning to do, and it's all so many other things happen, but not that. But the idea is create a short video, then you can, I mean, whatever you say in the video, you can put the same text as the blog. So in my view, that will be more powerful than just a blog.
So using more than one media.
Yeah.
I think isn't the term vlog? Isn't that
Yeah.
the most recent term about that? Yeah.
Yeah, it is video log, video blog. Yeah.
Yeah, right on. So that's yes, we're moving in that direction more and more, aren't we? But there are still people who prefer to read things over videos.
Yeah, so that's what I said.
Yeah, you got to do both.
Yeah, short video, and whatever you are explaining there, you put that in text form. By the side of that video, you have the video, and by the side of it, you put the text. So if people want to read the text, okay, there it is. If they want to click on the video and watch it, there it is.
Right on. Boy, some of us have lots of additional work to do, don't we? All these good ideas. So now, David, what about you? Are you blogging? And if so, what would be your main?
Well, I am blogging, actually paying to have someone do it for me. But put a call to action at the bottom of the blog to capture email and to capture comments. Creating an email list that you can reference back to, so that when you create another blog or another review, that they're being notified of it, and other things that help them.
So it invites them to stay connected to you.
Correct.
So that invitation is, especially if we can personalize it, make it seem as though we're inviting that one individual.
Correct. Get that. It's why you like to have the name of them in your call to action to request the name, so that you can make that an automatic response.
Has anybody else noticed that you sometimes get one of these automatic things, and up it pops and it says, "Dear," and you can see the short code subscriber.
Yeah, some sort of a glitch in the software. We're dealing with a problem like that right now with Optimized Press to do with mobile. It's showing the short codes and not displaying properly.
Well, so so if we're going to use mechanized things, we better make sure they are, if we want them to look personalized, they have to be personalized. Oh dear. I always giggle when I see that pop up. It's really not very cool. So Jay, what about you? I know you could probably add to this list that we haven't mentioned.
Like kind of going on to what I was saying about last week in terms of that instant engagement and chatbots. I try to, honestly, I really try to avoid those kind of things on a website, because in my opinion, it takes away the personalization of a blog. I mean, a blog is a journal, and it's supposed to be personal. It's supposed to be engaging. So to engage with an audience, definitely doing the comments and encouraging the comments, because you want people to engage without feeling forced, without feeling the need to actually, because something shows up. So that being said, and it also depends on the call to actions. Like what do you want them to do at the end of the article after they read it? If you want them to engage, then ask them to engage. If you want them to buy something or opt in, you have to tell them. But I think if any sort of like pop-up comes up, like Facebook Messenger or like an actual chatbot, it's gonna detract, and it's gonna take people away from the possible commercial intent that you have at the end of the article, right? If you want them to buy something or go to a specific website, you want to stay completely laser targeted. Now, if it's a passive blog post where you're not, it's like, well, how to do this, it's like an instruction type of thing, where there's no actual commercial intent, then you want to have them leave comments or engage or go see a video or opt in. I don't think the chatbot things are really meant for blogs, and
Right.
I mean, ask yourself this: when's the last time you interacted with a chatbot, like yourself, right? Without commercial intent, right? Without like on a blog.
Right. The only time that I do is when something pops up on Facebook in the Facebook Messenger, when somebody pops up and speaks to me individually and asks me a question, or I've gone to a site or I'm using a service that I'm trying to make work, and I'm looking for support. But in terms of reading somebody's blog, probably not. You're right. Yeah. So, in keeping with what you just said, Jay, the other piece that I wrote down, and it's really important to me. Maybe not as much to others. I don't know, but I wrote down, keep your site simple, uncluttered, and easy to navigate. Because if there's a whole lot of stuff there, you lose me. I get so distracted by all this stuff that I lose sight of what the purpose of the blog was in the first place. So that is one, and the other one is this avoiding these intrusive pop-ups. And I know that if they can be used effectively, but I don't know how many times I've
of your content before, as opposed to a pop-up that comes up right away. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can do it.
That's true.
Sorry, folks. I don't know what happened. Zoom just shut itself down and came back up again.
No. You live in Canada. You got frozen.
Yeah. You were frozen. You were frozen out.
Yeah. You just froze on its typical Canadian behavior. No big deal.
But it's interesting.
I can get away with that being here now.
But it's really strange because in Zoom that's the first time that's ever happened. I've had that happen on other platforms, but not in Zoom, and it was the Zoom thing that froze. Interesting, eh? So, of course, I've lost track of where we were and what we're doing and what we're talking about.
When you were frozen, as Nathan says, we were talking about the pop-ups and how we deal with them, or essentially, well, most comments I heard were we avoid them, close them, minimize them.
Well,
and my experience also, I mean, I have seen these chatbots. I don't know whether it's a chatbot or is someone really there. It's hard to distinguish. But what I found was when you interact with that, you expect instantaneous response. If you don't get that response, then you lose interest in that and go somewhere else, or close the chat thing. So okay, implement a chatbot, but make sure that you are able to respond instantaneously rather than
that is a problem. I have a client who is dealing with that, where it was a bot and they made an appointment to meet with him through the bot, but the meeting never happened, and he wrote to them and they just wound up in the bot system again, and he wanted to talk to somebody and there was no way for him to encounter anybody, and he basically said, Chayitobai, I don't want to work with you people. You don't have a way for me to interact with somebody who's live. The bot was not set up. And I encountered this yesterday when I was encountering a bot. And so I just jumped right out of the system and called the phone number associated with it. But I still couldn't get through to somebody in a way that I really would have liked. And it's like, guys, you got to fix this chatbot system. Otherwise, you're going to be losing customers left, right, and center, like me, for one. So I know what you're talking about, Vivek.
No. I was just gonna do that. So go ahead, David.
Welcome, Paul Murray. He's in the chat, and he's made a comment. Your blog or VOG is asking people to make a change. It must include an environmental reinforcement for the change.
Emotional.
I'm sorry. Reinforcement for the change. Sorry about that.
And Paul, I really agree with you there, because, well, it doesn't matter what we're asking people to do, whether it's to buy or what we're asking them to do. There is an emotional aspect, and we really need to relate to that. However, I find that a lot of sales pitches that I hear go right into the whole emotional fear thing, and I think that's unethical. That maybe that's just my value system, but yeah. We certainly do need to acknowledge and appeal to, but I mean, this one-on-one engagement, that's an emotional thing too, is it not? Anybody have any reaction to this emotional piece?
Yes, I would say it goes back to what you said as the first point. The intent has to be helpful. If it is not, then none of it really matters. So.
Yeah, that's true. Well, so let's see. Have I covered Javita? I wanted to ask you what's your number one way of engaging personally?
I agree with Elena. Engagement in comments is important for me, and I try to communicate with them through engagement and mainly through email. Mails are the main important thing for me, and I try to connect with them through mail.
So if they leave a comment, then you go back and engage through email, right?
Yeah.
So in relation to what you just said, and something that Fred said, this whole thing about responding via a blog or a video, a personal video. I remember a long time ago we found this nifty little site that allowed us to leave a video message for people, and it integrates right into your email system, so you can click on it and just do it right from inside your email system. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's not coming up for me, and I don't have time right now to look for it. But I will share that with people because it was a really nifty, easy little piece. And as Fred was saying, if you're on your phone, of course, there's easy ways to do that as well. So yeah. Wow. So
Paul has another comment. Don't discount fear. It is often a trigger that required to activate positive change.
I don't disagree with that. It's just that I find people, some marketers, push that too far to the point where to me it becomes disgusting. And like I say, maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I agree. People use a lot of fear mongering. You know, if you don't buy this product, you will be vaporized into the internet.
Right.
Great. So you get to become an internet god, literally. I could think of worse things, but you would be like on 24/7. You will
Like the lawnmower man.
Yeah, maybe you will truly become a ghost in the machine.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's a lot of marketers that use a lot of fear mongering, and primarily with dollar values like money or some sort of monetary. Because I mean, a lot of it all has to do with, at least in my world, has a lot to do with financials and finance and earning commissions and earning an income and stuff. So
Yeah. Well, sometimes there's the issue of scarcity, and like I used that for something I did a while ago. There's scarcity, and then there's false scarcity. And what I was doing is I said, look, this offer is only good for 5 people, and once I've got these 5 people, that's it, it's over. And several people wrote to me after I had gotten the 5 and said, well, I want that offer. I said, you're too late. Got really annoyed with me, and I said, look, I didn't put this up just because I was blowing smoke or that it was false scarcity. I meant it. And I missed it, and I'm sorry, And they're going, yeah, but I want it. And I said, well, I'm sorry, it's done. and they were like really upset, and they go, well, you should be. No, sorry. There was a reason why I did this.
Yeah.
It was a jump start. And Jay, you're familiar with this. I'm sure we all are, where we do something in marketing that's designed to give us a certain amount of revenue or clients for our list. We do it for a short period, and then that's it. It's over.
Yeah, just count down. It's funny because I've been involved in a number of different scarcity campaigns, primarily one called Black Friday offer inside of Wealthy Affiliate.
Yeah, and perfect example.
The one day that it has the most sales is literally within the last 2 hours of the countdown. So it's pretty. It's
really,
pretty wild.
really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
sure.
I mean,
I was exposed to this in retail. Like growing up, my father was a jeweler, so he had a whole bunch of stores. And I can tell you from direct experience that where my father's business made its most money is in the last 6 weeks before Christmas. We had a full staff working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week for 6 straight weeks. And my station was selling watches, and my father was selling diamonds. Somebody else would be behind the charms counter. And it wasn't uncommon for me to be serving up to like 3 or 4 people at once. And it was just absolutely nuts. But just before Christmas, that's where all the money was made. And there was one time when my father was closing out a store, and he was running all these special offers. And one of the things that my father did to keep the customers off balance, because they were always trying to get the best price. And my father was really smart. 2 things is he got access to the public address system in the mall, which I mean, that was really cool. So he was making all the announcements every hour on the hour. But the second thing he did is he had all these discount things for all these items, and he kept moving them around from product to product. And there were all these customers who were hoping to catch him unawares and get the best deal. But he kept them off guard all the time, so they kept coming back, wondering when they could catch the great deal, and then poof, they would change it, and it would be gone, and something else would happen. It was really smart.
So
Cool.
focusing on the greed factor.
Well, he
Yeah.
had to. He was closing out, and he had to.
Yeah.
The expression "make hay while the sun shines," and he did quite well with it. He was like, it was absolutely brilliant what he was doing, and I was watching him and just going, "Wow, this is really cool." And he had the upper hand because it was his store, his turf, and he could do what he wanted. And it was I'd never seen anybody do it before.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Think about the day when Gmail was first introduced. There were people selling their invites on eBay for like $1,000.
Right.
Go figure.
But yeah, timer countdowns and scarcity that are legitimate really do work. I mean, they because when people see that timer going down to the last few little hours, even if they don't want the offer, it's like, they're conflicted. That's why it happens within the last 2 hours of the actual countdown inside WA, of the boot camp or the Black Friday offer. It's wild. Sales just start going like this.
Yeah, there's actually something I stumbled into a couple of days ago, looking at the ManyChat chatbot. And it was a case study that somebody did, and one of the things that they used to drive their sales was something called deadline funnel. And I'd never seen that before. And I thought, oh, so it's not one of these scarcity things where it resets itself. I mean, I don't like those things. Those things, I don't think that's cool at all. But something that's actually genuine like this, where it counts down to 0, you miss it, that's the end of it. And I like that because for me that's real scarcity. It's not something fake. But as we all know, as marketers, many marketers will simply repackage different deals, and that's just the way it is.
Paul says, Jay, good point. It is validated because your audience knows the terms of the offers are enforced.
Right.
Yeah,
which is what Nathan was just saying. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a really good point. It's like, if you want to build your brand, you got to have integrity about it. You got to do what you say you're going to do and stick to it, and not vary, because if you vary, then you're going to get caught out sooner or later. It's just one of those things, in my opinion.
So I'm looking at the time, and I'm also looking at my list, and I think we've kind of covered pretty well everything I had on my list. Has everybody shared their the things that they either use for their own blogs or that they really enjoy when they encounter it elsewhere? Anything else pop up for anyone?
Well, I think it's serendipitous that you said the word pop-up, because I think pop-ups are lovely, honestly, because I think as long as there's a really great offer to entice someone to use, give up their email, I think it's a fine idea to have pop-ups. I use them, and I'm very successful with them. Building a list, an email list, I think is a huge asset to have, because the moment, let's say your website tanks in Google for whatever reason, let's say, you get a penalty or something like that, and as a result of that, you need to start over. But then you still have your list. So you could take that list, you could take that and send a message to those people and say, hey, listen, my new site is here now. Versus starting from scratch. It's such a beautiful asset. If you're promoting a specific offer, or you're giving them the opportunity to work with you, or for whatever reason, you can relay that information in a very personal format. And even though people do understand and realize that the email that they're receiving from you may be a pre-filled, it's going out to thousands of other people, people still do get that sense of personalization. Within emails, I always ask them to reply if they need any questions, and they typically do, which is kind of cool. I just got one this morning. So it's fantastic. So I really do encourage using email marketing and pop-ups that are strategically placed and timed
That's the most
home too.
important piece, Jay, is strategically placed and timed.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
one place that you might want to check out for that kind of stuff is socialtriggers.com, and Derek Halpern has got a little thing where he talks about how to place pop-ups or these different calls to action, and it can be fairly effective. I like pop-ups too. I've used them with a certain amount of success over the years myself, and depending on where I go at the site that has a really good pop-up with a great offer, I'm going, yeah, I'm going to give up my email address. There's something really good here, and I do it all the time. So yeah, there's a love-hate relationship. Some people hate it, and they do it just to get rid of the pop-up by entering a false email address and clicking the button. So
Right. So
it's just one of those things. What are you going to do?
so again, socialtriggers.com, you said?
Right. Yeah, socialtriggers.com. Derek
Okay.
Halpern. He's got a course, I believe, on some of this stuff.
Okay.
It would be worth checking out.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're
Okay, so we are almost at the top of the hour, and anybody else have a parting notice or a parting comment to make before we close out for the day?
Ironically, I just went on to socialtriggers.com and was immediately met with a pop-up.
Right.
So there you have it.
What would you expect?
I mean, and it was immediate. There's no 10-second delay, which is why I went on the site to begin with. I wanted to see what this person would say about the triggers, and is it a 10-second delay, 20-second delay? Do you wait till someone's halfway through the article and it scrolled down, et cetera, et cetera? But nope. As soon as you land on there, you get a pop-up.
It really depends on every single site. I don't think there's any hard and fast rule about it. They all have their different ways of doing things, and some people love it, some people hate it. And when it comes to people and the way that they respond to stuff, like this LinkedIn thing I've been doing, you get some real haters. I got somebody who screamed at me through LinkedIn, called me a scammer, and that I was doing a bait and switch. Meanwhile, I'm talking about ghostwriting. Sorry, how did I do a bait and switch? And said, you better not respond to me if you know it's good for you. I'm going to ruin you. And I thought, and I remember thinking, really? And I only found this out recently. You want to try and sue somebody in Mexico? Good freaking luck. It's not going to happen. You try it, you're going to waste your money, and you're going to lose anyway. So why bother? But it was really funny. I felt like responding to him just to see what I could, egg him on a bit. But the guy seemed just a bit of a fruitcake. So I thought,
yeah, take the higher road on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
it's
kidding.
just like block, report, delete.
However, that reminds me, when we get somebody who does something, makes a complaint or whatever, we really do need to respond to those things in a positive way that solves their problem, or as the phrase Jay says, take the high road. I mean, that's
if you can. But with many of these people, as I've discovered, even if you do take the high road, these people are looking for a fight. But
the other people observing it, that's the more important thing, is when other people can observe this, they will see they will note that you've taken the high road, and that their respect for you will go up.
Well, that's possible. One thing that I've done, and it's been a bit of an experiment with this kind of thing, is sometimes when I've, like this on Facebook or somewhere else, where I've done an original post and I wind up with somebody flaming or doing whatever they do, and not responding at all, not doing anything,
ignoring
zero.
it.
Yeah, just ignoring it and going by it as if they're not even there. One of the things I've discovered is that a number of times other people will literally step up and will give the troll or the bully or whatever the gears, and
and it changes the entire dynamic. I don't do anything at all sometimes. I just let it happen, and sometimes it can be really interesting as to what other people do. Because my major concern of that kind of stuff happening is hijacking the post, taking it in a different direction. And there have been times where something like this has happened, where it's become so extreme. Even if I try and step in, I realize I can't make this work. And I literally go and I delete my post completely, start over again. And interestingly enough, and this has happened more than once, is that I've deleted the original post because it was just too negative, and it was obvious I couldn't fix it. I start again the different way, and then all of a sudden, all the good people show up. All the really nice people
good
show up.
topic for next week. I think this would be a good conversation for next week.
It could be.
I think so. I think how to deal with trolls and flamers and whatever, and where we find them and how we deal with them. I think that's a good idea, Jay.
Sure, why not?
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
So,
don't feed them.
So Jay is waving us by. Just before we close, I like to remind everyone it's important to do what you love with passion. And we shall see you next week.